Brazil is one of the world's fastest developing countries. Between 2003 and 2014, 29 million people were lifted out of poverty, with the average income of the poorest 40% growing by 7.1%. However, poverty has remained persistent in some of the country's largest cities. In Rio de Janeiro and Sao Paulo, slums known as favelas have continued to grow and expand. Today, 1.5 million people live in 750 favelas across Brazil. These communities are multifaceted, being both places of cultural vibrancy as well as hotbeds of drugs and crime. Brazil's largest favela is Rosina, located in the heart of Rio de Janeiro. With an estimated population of 250,000 people spanning 355 hectares, Rosina is its own self-sufficient economy. However, living conditions leave much to be desired. Infrastructure is rudimentary and often dangerous, with unsound structures reaching as high as 11 stories. Favelas lack proper electrical wiring as well as sanitary waste and sewerage systems. With favelas being so densely populated, it has become almost impossible for the government to change these conditions.
Founded during 2017 in Melbourne, Australia, our organisation is called the Favelas Upgrade Project, and we envision a world where every person has access to basic shelter. Our mission is to bring communities together through updating and rebuilding the homes of those who are most vulnerable in Brazil's favelas. Our current project is based in Rosina, a favela in Rio de Janeiro, and we hope to improve the residents' living conditions by reconstructing and updating their homes. In comparison to past attempts, which have tried to forcibly remove and rehouse the inhabitants of Rosina to demolish the favela, we aspire to work with the community to preserve and create environmentally friendly buildings that will last the inhabitants a lifetime. Our primary aims include to work alongside the local community to rebuild their homes, to reserve and maintain the diverse and vibrant culture and history of Rosina, to build homes that incorporate environmentally sustainable features, including solar panels, green roofs, and water tanks, to build homes which are cost-effective but can also withstand weather extremes such as hot weather, torrential rain, mudslides, and flooding.
The implementation of the program will follow a two-stage system. Stage 1 is a two-part system that will function simultaneously. Part 1 is to create a consultation board made up of local leaders and local people that will be directly impacted by these projects. Allowing the community to be involved from the very beginning of the project all the way to the end of the program ensures a bottom-up approach is utilized and that all projects implemented are what the residents of affected zones need. To avoid the overrepresentation of one community over the underrepresentation of another, we will ensure that representatives are selected from all types of genders, age groups, and other relevant backgrounds, such as financial backgrounds and social standing, each member representing the relevant groups. Additionally, to limit and prevent the pressuring of these representatives by government officials or other groups such as gangs for personal interests that override community interests, a system of protection will be set up, such as an anonymous forum, or allowing these members to remain anonymous and contact us through means they feel are safe. The second part is to send in researchers, particularly from the anthropology field, that already have a dedication or interest to studying what the targeted community needs. Anthropologists are preferred since the fieldwork style is one where they should live within the community and collect true data from a trust-based system over a long-term period. Although elected members itself would sufficiently represent the community, there's a possibility of a trust or cultural barrier between our organization and the elected members since we are an outside body. Anthropologists would be able to fill this gap since their research comes from developing deep bonds within members of the community. Funding would be initiated from national and international fundraising organizations, respectable NGOs, and more importantly, from local, state, and national governments. We have to ensure that the local people involved in the projects are compensated for their dedicated time, and this must be done so in a culturally sensitive way to prevent conflict between the representatives and the local community or disrupting groups and governments. Secondly, we have to ensure the collection of land rights for affected areas, since many of the land belongs to third-party individuals and organizations and are often illegally occupied. This would further require the involvement of legal teams and government officials. Thirdly, we will be holding seminars, meetings, newspaper reports, and television broadcasting to provide information to the affected local community about the project. The last stage would be the construction and development of buildings and reconstruction.
In all buildings in this project, we will incorporate some environmentally friendly development principles. One of these will be including green space. This will be done by transforming the rooftop into a green roof by adding water-absorbent plants, including shrubs and low-lying plants such as ferns. These will help with the climate of the area by reducing the negative impacts of storms and improving drainage. Additionally, it will also help to reduce air pollution, as well as being able to serve as a place of community interaction. Another principle that will be incorporated is sustainable water use. This will be achieved by utilising grey water, which can be used in the toilets and the greenery if necessary. As well as this, rather than having toilets in individual units, a part of the building will be used as a toilet block. This will minimise water use as well as being cheaper and easier to maintain. The physical structure of the building itself is also very important. Each building will be between 3 to 5 stories tall in order to increase density and minimise urban sprawl. There will be multiple individual units on every floor, each containing 2 to 3 bedrooms, small kitchen and living area. However, these can be modified depending on the needs associated with differing neighbourhoods. Additionally, on the ground floor, there will be a communal room, as well as other areas to be used dependent on the needs of the inhabitants, as well as the toilet block. Though some parts of the building structures will be universal, the vast majority of aspects will cater to the socio-economic needs of varying neighbourhoods. In these situations, it is important to maintain these economic structures that were previously conducted in community spaces or private homes. For example, some favelas use the bottom floor as a shop front, an aspect that would need to be included in the updated design. In other areas, there are a large amount of middle-class occupants who commute to the city. In this situation, we would cater to this by providing an area to store bikes, which are often a method of transport. Some areas may contain more young families with young children. This needs to be catered for by providing a room within the building that can be used as a childcare space.
Based on previous developmental projects in Brazil, we have estimated that the construction of the first building should take about 6 to 9 months. We have managed to reduce the time frame through the use of existing infrastructure and materials. In order to ensure that the project remains sustainable, we aim to recycle materials from previous constructions in the favela. When procuring other materials, we will ensure that these are locally sourced, as it will act as revenue for other local businesses and it could possibly drive down the price. Furthermore, as a way to maintain community engagement, our project will seek to employ those who will be living there as labourers. Not only will this improve the skill basis of the inhabitants, which guarantees the long-term maintenance of the building. Moreover, based on previous projects, the involvement of stakeholders in the construction of projects increases the connection of locals to the new infrastructure, which makes them more willing to maintain it. Lastly, the construction process acts as an educational process. As local inhabitants help with the construction of the building, they will also learn how to repair it and use it properly. In order to tackle the unavoidable displacement of locals, we propose using one of the many community centres within and around Cocina or providing them with subsidised accommodation. Through the use of community centres within the favela, our project limits the disruption to daily lives and routines. Our project has developed a long-term plan for the area that not only considers the residential aspects of the favela, but also the social ones. We will start off by just building one building in the Cocina favela, and based on the success of this building, we can tailor the future of the project through local feedback. Thus, the direction of the development will be flexible and can therefore be changed depending on the necessities of the residents and the area. since the project puts heavy emphasis on the incorporation of locals in the decision-making process. We will, based on their knowledge, ensure that areas of social interactivity are maintained or enhanced, and not destroyed in the place of residential buildings. Moreover, our project will integrate communal buildings such as health clinics and schools as a way to cater for the social needs of the local inhabitants. Lastly, there will be no time range for the overall completion of the project, but rather certain steps that can be implemented as financial capabilities of the city allow it to.